Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie. Recently, we received a request from one of our viewers on how to make a t-shirt mock-up. So in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how we do that on Photoshop. Okay, so go ahead and open up Photoshop. What we're gonna be doing is putting this bird onto the backside of this hoodie. And I'm gonna show you how to make it realistic so you can put it on a product listing or on your website. So this goes back to our Etsy video that we just made. So I'm gonna put a link for that in the video here on the very top. And that goes over why you should have really good looking mock-up photos. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make that realistic mock-up photo. All right, so the first thing you wanna do is make sure that your image is a PNG. So when it's a PNG, it has a transparency factor to it. So when it has that transparency factor, it's not gonna bring over any like white in your design. Because in this case, the bird has a bunch of parts in it that are transparent. And we need to make sure that those parts, when they go over to the hoodie, that they're not white, that they're actually transparent. So for a lot of the designs that you might want to put on something, most likely they're gonna have to be a PNG. So if you see a JPEG, probably that's not gonna one that's gonna work for you. Look for a PNG. So once you have your image open or your design open, go ahead and copy it from this window here. So Control C or Command C on Mac. Go back over to the window that has your hoodie or sweater, and then Control V to drop it into the window. And you'll notice that it's too big. So your best friend is the transform tool. So Control T, that'll bring up these blue lines so that you can manipulate and move around the design. So for some of you, this button here will be unchecked. And when you try to control it, it will squish the design, which is not what you want. What it's called is aspect ratio, and you want to keep it constant. So when it is messed up like this, to go back, just press Control Z, like zebra, to go back, or Command C. So once you go back and the aspect ratio is right, go ahead and lock it here, or you can use Shift to control the aspect ratio. So I'm gonna go ahead and shrink this down to where I want it. And then I'm gonna move it onto the sweater and make it pretty much the size that it's going to be in real life. Make sure it's centered, and then press enter or press that blue, not blue, but a check mark up here. Once you do that, it locks it in place and it's not gonna move. So to make this more realistic, in my opinion, the bird is a bit too sharp to consider realistic, in my opinion. If I were to look at this on a product page, I'd be like, that's gonna Photoshop. So first thing is opacity. So over on the right-hand side, make sure you have your design clicked. There is an opacity section right above it. If you click on that drop down, a slider will appear. And then the lower you go, the more transparent it will look on your garment. So this is like 5% transparency or opacity. And where I usually put it is like 85 to 90%. That's usually where it looks the best, because in real life, if I were to make this garment, the colors would not be this vibrant, especially the black. In real life, it would be like almost like an off black. So that's what I'm going for. So we're going to bring this down to, I think, like 83% look good. 83% looks right where it should be, almost like real life. Next, to make it even more realistic, is blurring it. So when you blur an image, it makes it look more realistic. I know it's weird, but what you want to do is basically match the design's blurriness to the fabric's blurriness, and that's what makes it look realistic. So to do that, you make sure that your design is clicked right here in your layers, and then on the very top, go to Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian Blur. When this pops up for you, it's gonna look like a bunch of checkers. So just bring it down with your mouse until you reach your design, and then play around with the radius until it looks realistic. So right now it's too sharp, so we'll set maybe like 1 pixel, and you'll see that if the preview is checked, you'll see that on the garment it looks too blurry. So the range generally for me when I do this is anywhere from like 0.3 to 1.5 at the max. So it just depends on the garment that you find online, but 0.5 I think looks good. No, it's too blurry. I think 0.4. Yeah, we'll go with 0.4 pixels. And then now it looks more realistic, as if it was printed on and we took a picture of it in a booth. So that's how you make it look realistic. So the next thing I want to show you guys is how to put text on a garment, because when you put text on a garment in Photoshop, it can look really, really fake, and I feel like not a lot of brands make it look realistic. So on the front side of the garment, what you want to do is create a text layer. To make a text layer, you can press T, or on the left hand side here, click the horizontal type tool, and then click anywhere where you want to put text. What I want to do is add my brand's name, so Wicked, and then Rebels. I already have my fonts and my line spacing set up. If the color of the text is not what you want it to be, this is how you change it. So make sure you highlight all the text. You can either highlight it by dragging over it like this, or you can press Control A, or double clicking in there until it highlights everything. But for me, Control A. And then on the right hand side, click the color box and then select the color you want to change it to. So for me, I'm going to keep it black, and then I'm going to move it just a bit because it's too far to the right. Right about here. And then once you place it where you need it to be, you'll have to do a couple more things. So same thing, add opacity to it, bring it down to about, say, like 90%, just so it's kind of like off black. I think it's like 86. Now it's off black to me. And then I'm going to add Gaussian blur, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, convert it to a smart object. And then I think I'm going to make it 0.3 pixels. No, it's too sharp. So you want to make it not sharp, basically. So 0.4 I think would be good. You zoom out and zoom in, you can see if it looks realistic or not. But to me, this looks very realistic. The edges of the W and the D and the S, the R, they all look really soft. Kind of like how it would look if I were to take a real picture of this in a booth. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions on how I manipulated any of this, please let me know. Go ahead and like, follow, and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching. See ya.